This is CBC Here and Now.
Did you notice really low tide this weekend? I'll tell you why.
We know he's there. It's not like there's no physical evidence that he's there. We know he's there.
His car is
there.
Still searching for their son. A St. John's couple wants police in BC to get back out and search a provincial park.
If you look at the size of the man compared to the cop, and the fact that he's handcuffed with his hands behind his back, so he's basically defenseless.
Captured on camera, Nunatuavut calls it troubling. Another instance of violence against Indigenous people. This MHA says homelessness plays a part.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes. Tonight, the fallout from a takedown in Happy Valley Goose Bay.
A municipal officer in Labrador is now on desk duty following that video. It shows the officer throwing an Indigenous man in handcuffs to the ground. PC MHA Layla Evans shared that video on Friday, and now Town Council is pledging an independent investigation. Here Now's Garrett Barry has our top story tonight.
This video was taken Friday afternoon, showing an apparent arrest of an Inuk man by a municipal enforcement officer. He's pressed up against the car. Some say he may have spit. That's not clear. What is clear is the constable throws the man to the ground.
I was a bit shocked at his aggressive behavior.
Evans said a bystander sent her the video, and she published it on Facebook.
If you look at the size of the man compared to the cop, and the fact that he's handcuffed with his hands behind his back, so he's basically defenseless. He can't turn around and even face the cop. He is not powerful enough. The cop is in total control. And then the cop throws him to the ground. And he can't break his fall with his hands because they're cuffed behind his back. So, you know, I think it needs to be investigated why this was allowed to play out.
Saturday night, the town said the officer involved would be placed on administrative duty, pending an independent investigation into the incident. It said this matter is of utmost importance and taken quite seriously by Mayor, Council, and management. We called the town council and the officer shown in the video. Both said no further comment. And because the officer and the town aren't doing interviews, there's a lot of questions that we don't have the answer to. Why was the constable there to begin with? Why did he restrain the man against his car? And why did he decide to take him to the ground? For some, there's no possible justification.
Whatever the situation was, there is no excuse for this type of force to be used against an Indigenous person. And we have said before that this is another manifestation of the systemic racism which exists in law enforcement.
Evans said the man involved is homeless, originally from Hopedale, but living in a wooded area of Happy Valley Goose Bay. She says the system is failing, and that contributed to this incident.
It is actually creating problems for not only the residents of Lake Melville, but I think it's contributing to racism because people are frustrated, they're starting to blame, and it's a slippery slope. So I'd like to have something done. I really would like to have something done about the homelessness issue, so we don't have to have a town cop running around chasing homeless people off of property.
But to Russell,
I don't see how homelessness is a contributing factor to the brutal takedown of an Indigenous person.
He says this is a story about bias in policing.
Indeed, sir, it is a prime example of systemic racism, and it's important that when an investigation is done, it is looked at from that angle.
The town has not said who will be conducting the investigation or when it will be finished. Garrett Barry, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
Now, for its part, the RCMP confirms a municipal enforcement officer handcuffed a man for being intoxicated in a public place. And when the police arrived, they arrested the man and then they brought him to a cell at the Happy Valley Goose Bay detachment to sober up. Police say he was released without any charges. Well, more than 50 Nigerians living in St. John's showed up to protest police brutality in their home country. Month-long protests in Nigeria have grown violent. Memorial's Nigerian Student Association organized the protest over the weekend, and their aim was to draw attention to the need for policing reform back home.
Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
And I'm here to protest against police brutality in Nigeria and for the government to end the agency, the police unit that has failed in protecting the life of the citizens and has rather resorted to extorting and brutalizing citizens, which is the SARS.
I believe that it comes a time in history that we have to protect ourselves. So it's about time we rise. So together the youth back home started this movement that enough is enough. Enough to police brutality, enough to making our mothers childless and our fathers childless. There are ugly things that this department or branch of our Nigerian police force do in Nigeria.
Those who have the power to protect the people, rather than protecting the people, they use that power as a tool of oppression to oppress the people, and it begins with massive profiling. You are profiled for your hairstyle, you are profiled for your looks, you are profiled for being young, you are profiled for having a tattoo, you are profiled for having a dreadlock, you are profiled for moving around with a backpack that could actually have a laptop, you are profiled for being seen with a laptop, you are profiled for carrying an iPhone, which is tagged expensive as a young guy in between your 20s or your late teens and your 30s. You're profiled for driving an expensive car.
I am angry! Are you not? Are you not feeling my pain?
What I want everyone to take away from this protest is that the people have the power. The government is nothing without the people. And the people decide how the government is going to rule them. We are demanding for transparency. We are demanding for accountability. We are demanding for you to protect us. We are demanding for you to use our money very well.
We have the power. It's not the other way around. We can't live in fear any longer. We are tired of being silent. We are tired of you raping us. We are tired of you killing us and killing the future and making us poor and making us seem as if we are nobody and we can't do anything. It's about, so this time around the youth has decided that enough is enough. We're standing together and we're not backing down.
Well, the First Nations chief in this province says fishing disputes like the one happening in Nova Scotia right now is sadly nothing new. On Saturday, a massive fire burned this lobster storage facility to the ground. It's where Mi'kmaq in Nova Scotia have been storing their catch. The head of the Mi'kmaq First Nation in this province says racism and prejudice plays a role in the feud and someone needs to step in and show leadership. Chief Mizel Joe says we should pay attention to this and other recent stories involving Indigenous Canadians.
We have to wake up and realize those things are happening in this country. And I only look to the South to know what's being promoted by Donald Trump and whoever else is in that party, pushing for violence and more violence and more. It just stems over into this country. And it's waking some people up in the wrong way. But, we've been talking about the racism issues that we're faced with every day here in this province. And this is just another part of that.
Well, did you notice the low tide this weekend? I wanted to share a photo with you. Linda White took this photo from Greens Pond this weekend, and it prompted a pretty interesting conversation on Twitter, which I thought I'd share with you because if I found it interesting, I thought you might. So what happens is we've got areas of high pressure and low pressure that move through, and that affects the water levels by about a centimeter for every millibar of pressure either above or below mean sea level pressure. So what happened is we had this big ridge of high pressure and it's about 1036. So that pushed down on the sea level about 35 centimeters more than it normally would. Combine that with low tide and the new moon, which is why we saw those pictures of that extra low tide. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And that area of high pressure that I'm talking about is going to sink south as we head through the next couple of days. And it's going to allow some more unsettled weather to move in. I'll have all those details and your full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, an update now for you on the search for Jordan Natterer. Search and rescue crews in BC have suspended the search for the missing 25-year-old from St. John's. Natterer went on an overnight hike over Thanksgiving weekend and hasn't been seen since. His car was found about 200 kilometers east of Vancouver in a provincial park. Natterer's parents have flown up to help with the search. They're pushing police to resume their efforts after they uncovered new clues over the weekend.
He's very resilient, very smart, and resourceful young man. brilliant young man. I think possibilities could be is that he threw his cap out towards the trail, hoping that the wind would blow it, someone would see it, or helicopters are above. And he couldn't get out in time because the trees are so dense that he tried throwing the hat out into an open area.
So what are some of those new clues? More of our conversation with the natterers ahead on Here and Now. Well, there's more reaction tonight following CBC's investigation into the death of Wally Rich. The Inuit teen died by suicide in a Labrador group home in May. One MHA says children in her district aren't getting adequate care from the Children's, Seniors and Social Development Department. But as Here and Now's Heather Gillis reports, there is still no movement on inquiry.
We need to make sure that no more children, are lost to the system.
PCMHA Leela Evans calls the death of Wally Rich, an Inuit teen from Labrador who died by suicide in the province's care, devastating. She says children who are in care in her district, Torngat Mountains, also aren't getting the care they need.
It's not adequate, and we're not getting the right answers that we need. There's a lot of issues that have been brought forward to me on my last visit up. I just came back from Nain, and it seems like there's a lot of issues with CSSD.
She says social workers there are quitting. Adding to recruitment and retention issues, she wants to organize a round table with the minister so he can hear the truth directly from frontline workers.
I guess they're so disillusioned and they want to make a difference, and they're not being able to make a difference or help the children while they're with CSSD. So they're going to other agencies like Nunatsi Health and Social Development.
NDP MHA Jordan Brown says there are systemic issues in Labrador. He says the area has one of the highest suicide rates in the country.
There's recommendations from the Child Youth Advocate. There's been reports and numbers of experts have spoke to this issue. Maybe there is some changes that can be made in the interim.
Meanwhile, Brian War is committing to change.
We have issues here that we need to deal with, and certainly we will.
It's still not clear what, if anything, will become public after the investigation into Wally Rich's death is complete. In the meantime, the Justice Minister says they're still looking for a commissioner for the inquiry into Inuit children in care, and he says it might not be a judge.
Like a lawyer or somebody who has an expertise in those type of affairs when it comes to an inquiry.
Steve Crocker says delays to the inquiry aren't related to vacancies on the Supreme Court. He says he still wants the inquiry to begin by the end of this fiscal year. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, still with the House of Assembly, 12-day-old Alexander Jeffrey George made history today. He won't remember it, but his mother, Sarah Studley, an MHA and Minister of Digital Government and Services for the province, likely will remember it. Young Alexander was the first newborn to ever attend question period in our province's House of Assembly. His proud mother spoke with reporters outside.
Huge honor. He was very well behaved. I think it's very important, I guess firstly for women running in politics that they can have a baby and bring them in here, because it's not a traditional job. I represent my constituents. Someone else can't fill in for me, unfortunately. I'm very honored to have that responsibility. So it's amazing that I can bring him in here and still do my job for my constituents. So hopefully, if someone's thinking about running, but hesitant because potentially they might have kids, then hopefully this helps them reconsider that.
Well, the Canadian Civil Liberties Association is appealing a decision by the province's Supreme Court to uphold the controversial travel ban. The ban was introduced this spring to restrict the spread of COVID-19. The association believes the province imposed the ban without evidence that other measures like quarantines or self-isolation were insufficient. Today at the House of Assembly, the health minister said he believes the results justify the decision to bring in a ban.
The RCMP is now officially investigating money mismanagement at IBEW 2330. Last week, we reported about the Electrical Workers Union and how they expelled 4 former officers and ordered them to repay more than $2.2 million. The union's long-serving president is on the hook for $1.5 million of that total. Union members at the Holyrood chapter have long suspected financial fraud from their top brass, and they held protests about spending transparency more than 2 years ago. And they suspect that even more money is missing than what the internal investigation uncovered. Police say the International Union has provided them with information and the criminal investigation is underway. Well, the West End Fire Station on the Marchant Road is up for grabs. The City of St. John's is requesting proposals for the sale and development of the building, but it hopes the existing building can be preserved. The city says it will sell the property to whoever has the plan that best fits the community. So points will be awarded for projects that intend on seeking heritage designation. Council envisions something similar to Bannerman Cafe and Brewery. Now, that business has kept the heritage value of the former East End Fire Hall. The deadline for proposals is Thursday, November the 12th. Well, even before masks became mandatory back in the summer, one St. John's runner saw her routes pile up with the discarded disposable masks. And while trying to tackle the masses of masks, she came up with an idea. Here now's Jerry Meaton has more on that story.
It's like the exact opposite of a needle in a haystack. You don't have to look very hard to find some of these disposable masks in the city of St. John's. All you have to do is look down. And that's what prompted one runner to start picking them up.
There's all kinds of masks. Some of them are...
Kim LaRue shows off the mask trash that she's picked up on a recent jog. The long-distance runner started to see a rise in discarded disposable masks back in June.
I've seen up to, 50 on a longer run. And it's all over the place. It's downtown, it's on the trails, it's up around Windsor Lake, it's everywhere.
You can imagine nobody wants to hang out with me.
Armed with lots of hand sanitizer in a small sack, she carefully collects the COVID face protectors in an attempt to protect the environment.
They're actually pollution, they're made out of plastics, and God knows how long it takes for them to deteriorate. So I just thought, I'll pick this one up, and then you'd see 5 or 6 more on a 5K run.
The only downside, not many people want to run with her anymore as she slows the pace cleaning up the place. Plus, even LaRouche says it's kind of gross.
A lot of people are disgusted, for sure, and I'm sure they're disgusted by me picking them up. People are pretty grossed out about it, but I think they feel it's probably a good thing to do.
It's also caught the eye of City Councillor Maggie Burton. Last month, she tweeted a reminder to residents to trash their masks. DFO scientist Jack Lawson responded, saying the elastic in the masks could be harmful to sea life. LaRouche is encouraging others to properly dispose of their masks and maybe think about switching to cloth ones.
Instead of buying a package of 50 disposable masks, why don't you get 3 washable masks? It's so much easier. You're reducing the amount of plastics that are in the environment. They're easy to wash. It's no different than, carrying around a disposable mask. I think we should just not use them unless we absolutely have to.
Until then, she's continuing the cleanup, one running step at a time. Jeremy Eaton, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, to a story of remembrance now. Eastern Owl is commemorating Henrietta Millick in song. Now, Millick, an Inuit woman originally from Nain, went missing from St. John's in 1982, and she's never been found. Now, the band created a music video for their song called Henrietta in partnership with Opera on the Avalon, and they released the song earlier this month.
This song came about in 2016 when they thought they had a lead on where Henrietta Millick may be. And so myself and 2 women from our community drove out to the site outside Roach's Line where search and rescue were looking for Henrietta Millick and did some ceremony at the site. So we actually climbed up a hillside and we're looking down to see what kind of search and rescue and the RNC were kind of doing there.
Sitting on rocks, looking down at the quarry, lighting a bowl full of sage in your memory.
And so that's kind of where the song came about. The song itself is the story of us kind of going out there that day and looking for Henrietta.
We can't see your face, but we know you're around.
Henrietta was an Inuk woman, and we felt it was super important for Henrietta's own culture to be represented in the song. So we invited 2 Inuit throat singers to compose a piece of music to put at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of the song.
The throat singers that we invited were
Thelma Faust and Jenny Williams, who've been throat singing together for years and years, and so they actually wrote their own throat singing part that goes over the song, which is really wonderful.
We feel that this song represents all Indigenous women, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis women, and so we wanted the song to really hold pieces of all those kinds of cultures. So we wanted it to represent Henrietta, but also Inuit people, First Nations people.
Well, it's really heavy, you know, and it's hard to, there's so many complex feelings around making the art, and not just like making it, but then also sharing it and knowing that other people are gonna experience it in their own way. And part of it is, you know, to help people feel heard and to make them feel empowered and to, you know, offer maybe some sort of comfort or solidarity to people who are struggling, you know, with these unthinkable circumstances. But then there's also for the people who haven't experienced this kind of tragedy, like, does it bring awareness? Does it make them do their research? Does it make them aware that this is a problem? Does it make them think? So, you know, there's a community piece, but there's also an awareness piece as well.
Well, Doreen Anderson isn't waiting for this bus. She's waiting for her bus pass. She can't get on because a government pilot project has something that's gone wrong. That story coming up.
A beautiful evening shaping up again tonight. It's hard to believe that we're in the middle of October. I'll tell you how long this warm, mild air is going to stick around.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador Tourism. Take the time to explore this fall. Learn more at stayhomeyear.ca.
Ashley is here now to look at the weather forecast, and gosh, the weather has been fantastic. Really great hiking weather, nice and cool and crisp, but still sunny. I've been loving it.
We have been spoiled, absolutely, with this gorgeous weather. Today, another one. Take a look at the temperatures across the board. 14 degrees in St. John's, 15 in Badger, 16 in Corner Brook. This is well above where we should be sitting for this time of year. And even temperatures, look at that, Nain, 12 degrees today. So certainly looking at some beautiful weather. It's really, those temperatures haven't moved too much. We're still sitting at 13 degrees in St. John's, shaping up to be a beautiful evening. Similar temperature for Bonavista, and then down to about 3 degrees in Lab City right now. We do have some colder air making its way in. There's that ridge of high pressure I was talking about a little bit earlier. That's been hanging around through the weekend, which is why we saw some pretty lovely weather. We do have some lingering cloud cover move through. Some showers are starting to move in as well for areas in the west, and then we'll continue to do so through portions of Labrador. But we are still in this warm air, above seasonable air, and that will continue, like I said, through the night tonight. We're looking at cloud cover, generally speaking, with the potential for some showers along the south, as well as fog and drizzle. It should stay dry in the metro area. However, we could see some drizzle. Certainly going to see some fog as we head through the night tonight, but there's those showers continuing, some periods of rain even moving in towards the early morning hours for the southwest. Here's your temperatures tonight, going down to about -7 in Lab City overnight tonight, because the skies should clear out and relatively light winds, so there will be a little bit of a wind chill in the north, though, up through northern portions of Labrador. You're looking at with the strongest winds, upwards of about 50 kilometers per hour tonight, hovering around the 0 degree mark. Most of the island staying mild, still in the double digits as our overnight lows, 10 in Corner Brook with those light winds, and then generally light, 10 to 15 kilometers per hour out of the southwest in the east. And we're looking at 8 degrees overnight in St. John's under partly to mostly cloudy skies. Again, more than likely going to see some fog patches and potentially some drizzle. So tomorrow those showers will continue to affect eastern portions of, or rather western portions of the island. More cloud cover in play tomorrow for sure. And then again, might see a few peaks of sun in the east, particularly for the Avalon tomorrow. Then we're going to see the next system move in. This is going to bring the potential for some snow for parts of Lab West, and eventually head towards central as well, as the system just wraps around some colder air with it into the evening hours on Tuesday. And that'll move off and bring that potential for some flurries for northern coastal areas of Labrador as well. Here's where those temperatures are going to sit. Going to stay mild again. 16 degrees will be the afternoon high for St. John's. Again, some cloudy periods and peaks of sun. The winds will stay light, generally light, 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. As you head towards central, that's when we'll see a little bit more cloud cover with the potential for some showers as well. 17 degrees in Gander, 16 in Corner Brook, and the winds will ramp up. So out of the south, southwest, anywhere from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. As far as your winds go. Up through Labrador, you're in that colder air for the north and west, so hovering near or just above the 0 degree mark. Otherwise, we'll see showers for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and then towards the Strait as well, where temperatures will be sitting in the double digits. 10, 11 degrees will be the afternoon high for you. Now, the area of low pressure is going to move out. We're going to see that cold air wrap around in it, and another ridge of high pressure is going to move in. However, it does look like things are going to stay unsettled in the east with the potential for some showers through the day on Wednesday. That ridge will move through, and then the next system will move in. This one's going to bring some snow with it as well, and some cooler temperatures. They're going to dip a little bit further south, so potentially for the northern peninsula as we see that colder air move in into Thursday night and potentially into Friday as well. So here's where we'll be sitting temperature-wise on Wednesday, hanging on to the potentially 17 degree mark again on Wednesday for the east, St. John's, and then as you head towards central, a little bit cooler, down to about 10, 11 degrees. And there's those cooler temperatures I was talking about. So back to the single digits. This is where you should be sitting for this time of year. 5 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. This is when we'll start to see those periods of snow move in Wednesday night and continuing through Thursday with the potential for some flurries and temperatures only a few degrees above zero, and then those cooler temperatures are going to start to filter further down for the northern peninsula, and then we're looking at about 16 to 18 degrees again for the rest. So it's looking fairly nice. By Friday, that's when we'll start to see that colder air dip in, so we'll see a dramatic drop in those temperatures. And then same thing for both central and western Newfoundland. However, it does look like we'll jump up a few more degrees as we head into the weekend. For eastern Labrador, you're looking at single-digit temperatures right across the board, and then hovering near or around zero in the west, with a potential for flurries sticking around. So I wanted to share this lovely shot. This is the sunrise in Birchie Narrows. Thank you to Matt Wells for sharing that with us. If you have any weather photos, share them. Send nlphotos@cbc.ca.
The two parents from this province are calling on police in British Columbia to renew the search for their missing son. 10 days ago, Jordan Natterer, who was originally from St. John's, told a friend that he was going on an overnight hike in the mountains, and he hasn't been seen since. Well, his parents, Greg and Josie, join me now from Vancouver. Obviously, everybody here in your home province, our thoughts are with you. What's the latest? I understand you have an update.
Yes, so I can just give an update here that we think we have some new clues as to the whereabouts of Jordan. There has been a white cap and Oakley glasses that were found that were Jordan's. They match his, and they were in an area that I think was not broadly covered enough. And so, so overall here, Jordan has gone missing, and the search has been paused by the search and rescue team and the Vancouver Police Department, because they didn't have any new evidence for a few days. And so obviously we were objected, and we were very, very disappointed. They did say they would reactivate the search if there was new evidence or clues that came, and we believe we have that. So it really is time that we need to get that search back on track, particularly with thermal imaging helicopters and drones and dogs in areas that could have been those where Jordan is located now.
Any sense, Josie, that these new clues, this evidence, might actually prompt the police department to resume the search?
Yes. For example, we didn't know which jacket Jordan had until Greg and I came back to the apartment last night thinking that was it and we were going to go home. And then when we started looking through all of his apparel, all of his materials, his office, we started finding more clues. He took his Toomey olive red down-filled coat, not his orange jacket. We found his bags for his sleeping mats as well too.
Have the police given you any indication as to when they will get back to you on what they're doing?
No, unfortunately, it's been one of our challenges that we send information in, and it hasn't been as responsive as we would like.
It's been 10 days. It's obviously a very serious situation for you both. How are you coping with this?
I'm not sure that's an appropriate question to ask.
I don't mean so much to actually take you to a place, but I know that I've heard you do an interview in which you said that the supposition is that that he may have been injured.
We can't rule anything out. You can imagine what we're feeling like right now in the state that we're in. I think there are several possibilities. One is that he is stuck somewhere in this drainage basin area, for those who are familiar with this park, and he's just unable to get out, or he is stuck because he twisted an ankle. And he's very resilient, very smart, and resourceful young man, brilliant young man. I think possibilities could be is that he threw his cap out towards the trail, hoping that the wind would blow it, someone would see it, or helicopters are above. And he couldn't get out in time because the trees are so dense that he tried throwing the hat out into an open area.
As a last question for you, what are the next steps that you would like to see happen now? As you've been out there for some time, you flew out there to help your boy. What are the next steps that you think need to happen?
Search and rescue team know the areas very well, and we just are waiting to get some decision, some feedback from the entire administration dealing with this problem.
All right. Well, Greg, I know that you certainly have lots of people back here, but you both do, and I know that your colleagues at Memorial University, everyone is reaching out, and our thoughts are with you both. And Good luck with what's to come. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much, and to all who have sent their support and kind thoughts. It means a lot to Josie, myself, and our daughters back in St. John's. Josie, anything else?
No, thank you, Anthony. Well, we're going to bring them home.
We remain optimistic.
All right, best of luck to you both.
Thanks.
Now, as an update to that story, a petition to restart the search is gaining some support. There's almost 2,500 signatures on it, and that number at this hour is climbing.
Well, the loss of license and buildings and their catch is an incredible loss. But at the same time, you gotta pray to God that no one actually gets killed from this or gets hurt from this.
Chief Mizell Joe weighs in on the Mi'kmaq First Nation. And Con River weighs in on the violent dispute between Indigenous and non-Indigenous fishermen in Nova Scotia. That's coming up. The dispute between commercial and Indigenous fishermen in southwest Nova Scotia has become violent. Last week, charges of assault, harassment, vandalism, accusations of racism. Then on Saturday, this. A massive fire destroyed this lobster pound where Mi'kmaq fishers had been storing their catch. The same facility had been previously raided and vandalized by commercial fishermen. The dispute over fishing rights. Specifically, the Sabanakina First Nations self-regulated lobster fishery. It recognizes their right to earn a moderate living from fishing and exists outside the regular commercial lobster season. Joining me now to talk more about this situation is Chief Mizel Joe of the Miaukapik First Nation in Conn River. Chief Joe, thanks so much for being here.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me.
What's it been like for you to watch all of this unfolding in Nova Scotia? How are you feeling about it?
Well, it's reliving all over again when the Marshall Treaty broke years ago, and what happened in New Brunswick and in Newfoundland. Actually, there was three fishermen that came down from Nova Scotia to fish in Newfoundland without a license, and of course, fishermen here burned their clothes and forced them to move and go back to Nova Scotia. So this is nothing new. It's been going on ever since the Marshall decision came out. And unfortunately, that is happening. And you can only hope and pray that nobody gets hurt from it all. And what the loss of license and buildings and their catch is an incredible loss. But at the same time, you gotta pray to God that no one gets killed from this or gets hurt from this.
And to that point, a man who police consider a person of interest in the fire that happened on Saturday, he's in hospital with life-threatening injuries. Where do you see all of this going if it continues to escalate like this?
Yeah, it's probably going to get worse before it gets a lot better, and that's the unfortunate part. And racism and prejudice is all a part of this too as well, and we face the same things in Newfoundland, but not to that degree. But it could very well be. Somebody's got to step in there somewhere and make some sense of all of this. I don't know who that person is going to be, but certainly somebody's going to have to make some move somewhere along the line, whether it's going to be the federal government along with the RCMP and along with DFO and good leadership from the Mi'kmaq people in Nova Scotia.
Now, with the commercial fishermen, the head of the Fishermen's Union said that no one wants First Nations people to lose their right to make a moderate living through fishing. His issue is with fishing outside of the regular season. What do you make of that?
But the Marshall Treaty says very clearly that they have a right to a moderate livelihood. And if that's a part of their conservation plan that can work, I think all the more to them. But I think number one to keep in mind that it's got to be part of conservation. And if you can get around that and make sure that and convince everybody that this is good conservation move to make, then by all means.
We've all been watching this unfold in Nova Scotia, the violence, the intimidation, but looking at the big picture here, we've heard many disturbing stories involving Indigenous Canadians lately. There's Joyce Echequan, taunted by nurses in a Quebec hospital, Wally Rich, an Inuit teen who killed himself in the province's care, and an officer throwing an Inuk man to the ground last week in Labrador. What do you make of all of these recent stories, and what does it say about where we are as a country?
Well, where we are as a country, we have to wake up and realize those things are happening in this country. And I only look to the south to know what's being promoted by Donald Trump and whoever else is in that party. As we're pushing for violence and more violence and more. It just stems over into this country, and it's waking some people up in the wrong way. But, we've been talking about the racism issues that we're faced with every day here in this province. And this is just another part of that.
Well, Chief Mizel Joe, thank you so much for speaking with me today and weighing in on all this.
Yeah, I hope the more people come out and raise the issue of what's happening in Nova Scotia, somewhere along the way, somebody's got to make a move to try and come to some resolve with what's happening.
Thank you so much. Well, the House of Commons is set to hold an emergency debate about the lobster fishery conflict in Nova Scotia. Meanwhile, more RCMP officers have been deployed to the area as tensions mount between commercial and Mi'kmaq fishermen. As you heard, over the weekend, a fire destroyed a lobster pound. The federal fisheries minister is condemning the violence.
There is no excuse for the threats, the intimidation, the destruction of property. There is no reason why these things should be happening. This needs to stop so that we can continue to move forward with a peaceful, sustainable solution.
Now, the federal government is under pressure to step in and help de-escalate the situation. Ottawa is also being urged to clarify the Mi'kmaq right to a moderate livelihood fishery. Many non-Indigenous fishermen are opposed to fishing outside the federally mandated commercial season. They say doing so could have an adverse impact on conservation. Indigenous leaders say their traps are a fraction of commercial operations and their haul is too small to affect lobster population. The RCMP continues to investigate recent incidents targeting Indigenous people and their properties.
And still on this story, more than a few restaurants in Nova Scotia, big and small, have pulled lobster from their menus in solidarity with the province's Indigenous fishermen. Some are appalled by the violence, and they are willing to take a stand even if it means taking a hit on their profits. Preston Mulligan reports.
This waterfront restaurant in Halifax, Lobster, is the featured dish. This morning, though, owners decided they'd had enough of what was happening in Southwest Nova. Until it's settled, they say, no more lobster.
I don't think we want to see somebody get hurt, and really, I think that's waiting too long, and that's probably what's going to happen if they don't get something figured out.
Broom's RCR Hospitality owns 6 Halifax restaurants where lobster is supreme. He says he's prepared for any backlash from patrons who don't share his view.
Well, I think that the public sentiment for lobster right now is nobody has an appetite for it, and there's a lot of heated debate going on, and so I just think it's probably for the best that we try to do whatever we can to help speed up that process.
Over in Dartmouth, this small independent restaurateur made the call in late September to pull lobster from the menu.
We had a significant amount of hate.
Boyle says he was threatened personally, and he looked on as haters tried to sabotage his business.
We had an organized cyberbullying attempt, I would call it, where I woke up in the morning and our Google rating was 1 star and our Facebook rating was 1 star as well.
Boyle says sometimes the principle is more important than the profit.
I'm a bit disheartened, appalled, embarrassed a little bit as well. I just think that there's other ways to peacefully resolve these issues than violence or vandalism and alleged racism.
If these restaurateurs ignored the violence on the wharf and served lobster, they might not make a whole lot of money on it anyway. Lobster supply in Nova Scotia is at an all-time low right now, and lobster wholesalers are selling it for close to $16 a pound. But Broom says that's not what's motivating him.
It's not a big decision in the big scheme of things for us. Life will go on. Our restaurants will open. We just won't have lobster on the menu, so I don't want to make a big deal of it. It's not that big a deal for us, but it could be a big deal down the road if somebody gets hurt, and what's happening on the South Shore. I mean, somebody's got to do something to resolve that for sure.
Preston Mulligan, CBC News, Halifax.
Welcome back. A Go Bus in St. John's provides a vital service for people who happen to have disabilities, and a pilot project for commuters who get income assistance is supposed to ensure that they get bus passes. But 23-year-old Doreen Anderson is on the autism spectrum, and she also has an anxiety disorder. And Doreen and her mom say her anxiety is close to boiling because she's been waiting weeks for a bus pass, and officials won't explain just what's gone wrong.
Well, it was supposed to be in the mail after 10 days, but it didn't show up.
Now, this is a new program, a pilot program that was started that was supposed to see you get your bus pass.
Yes, indeed, until they were supposed to happen in April, but got postponed because of the COVID.
Okay, so the program was supposed to start, but you were supposed to get that Go Pass by now, weren't you, the Go Bus Pass?
Yes.
All right, so what's happened as far as you can tell?
It didn't show up for some reason in the mail.
And how important is this bus pass at getting around town for you?
Well, for my mental health and to get through my groceries and also go to the movies and visit my family and all sorts of stuff.
So without the bus pass, have you had to pay?
Yes, I had twice this month for a 10 ride to keep with my budget. Right,
and when I spoke to you on the phone, you weren't very happy about that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. What impact does this have on you, not having the bus pass?
Having to use my money in the paycheck for my 10 ride bus pass out of my pocket. For each paycheck, I have to save some money for my bills.
Right, of course. Now, I should point out to people that it's very important to know that Doreen actually lives on her own, so she's independent. So obviously, the bus pass is her way of getting about town. And Doreen's mom joins us now. So give us a sense. What have you been trying to do to get to the bottom of this?
What's been crazy basically is the excuses that I've been given because of COVID, understaffing under the Department of Advanced Skills and Education. And the problem is that I constantly am emailing because I'm getting nowhere phone call wise. I'm given song and dance. I'm after being given 3 different dates as to when this Go Bus Pass is going to show up. I was given October the 8th, October the 9th, October the 14th. And so it still has not shown up, and the most recent email I received saying basically if we haven't received it by the end of this week, keep emailing, that's it.
Keep emailing?
Just email the bus pass unit, that's it. So it's a song and dance, and there's nowhere to go beyond. They're not leaving any names of anybody for me to call or a number. It's basically constantly emailing the bus pass unit, which is part of the Department of Advanced Education and Skills.
So as Doreen's mom, what's it been like watching your daughter basically trying to find different ways to pay and get about?
Me and my partner, my husband, have been helping my daughter with groceries because of the expense of having to pay for a 10-ride bus pass. She can't afford groceries and paying for 10-ride bus passes every 2 weeks, waiting for this Go Bus Pass, which is it's not showing up. She was supposed to get this October the 1st, like most clients, and for some reason she's being delayed.
So Doreen, how often do you go to the mailbox looking for the bus pass?
Every single day in the mail, like once in the morning and once in the afternoon.
So you're really waiting for this thing?
Yeah.
All right, well listen, I hope that we get some solution for this, and I'll see what we can get. We'll try and call the department ourselves, and I hope you get your bus pass soon.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
And thank you.
Thank you.
And we did contact the Department of Immigration, Skills and Labor for comment on this. It says every income support client in the St. John's metro area was issued a bus pass. Where lost or misplaced, a second pass was issued. Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah.
So change in temperatures coming, Ashley.
There are a few changes in temperatures. Let's take a look at that. Enjoy these warm temperatures while they last, sitting around 16, 17 degrees. And then by Friday, we're going to start to see a dip back down to those single digits. Might be a degree or two warmer than that, but it is looking like we're going to see some cooler temperatures.
Right. Take advantage while you can.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.
Good night.